Hi, this is Tim Campso with Action Coach of Indiana and our Business Spotlight series. And the purpose is to interview local business owners and promote them through our social channels and email database. And the reason we do that is because when all small businesses are strong, the economy is strong. And this is a free service we're providing to help small business owners get the word out about them. And today I have the honor of speaking with Dustin. Dustin, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on today.
Thanks, Tim. Good to be here.
Fantastic. Well, hey, let's start with, before we get into the business side, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you personally.
So my name is Dustin Brenton. I am from Franklin, Indiana. I am a graduate of Ivy Tech in Columbus. I also have a degree from WGU Indiana in marketing management. I have a wife and 2 kids and a dog. And I'm the president and creative director of Brenton Creative.
Wonderful. And so let's tell everyone a little bit more about your business. I have a fun way I ask this question. If you had a 60-second commercial, what would you say about your business so people understand what you do?
Oh, I only have 60 seconds. Okay. No, it's Brenton Creative. It's a full service marketing advertising agency in a nutshell, right? What we do is, graphic design, web design, digital marketing, videography, marketing strategies. I mean, really anything to help get your business's name in front of as many eyes as possible, and to try to find the best way to promote your business, because each business is different. So we look at it as an opportunity to learn a bit about what you do and how to get your name out in front of everybody else. And we always say, there's a lot of things that we do as far as marketing, advertising. And I always tell my clients, if you see something out there and you always think, how did they do that? How did somebody do that? Where did they get that idea? Come to me and ask me. I either know how to do it, I either know somebody who does it, or I'll figure it out. That's kind of where I live. That's it.
I love it. Wonderful. So how long have you been in business, Dustin?
So Brenton Creative has actually only been in business since October of 2020, so about a year. I have previous agency experience. I had started an agency back in 2008 or so, did that for about 12 years and whatnot. So this isn't my first go round, but this is my first being a sole owner of the business myself.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. That's very exciting. So more specifically, who do you serve, or who's your best customer, what we call a target audience?
So the fun thing about being in my industry, being in marketing advertising, is for me personally, I don't have one specific niche market that I look towards. There are some agencies that do only healthcare. There are some that only do manufacturing or nonprofits, whatever. I like to do everything, which sounds, whatever, ridiculous. But there's something fun about, for me at least, learning a little bit about every aspect of my clients. So I may be working on a project at one moment that's for like a funeral home, and then move to the next moment and be working for a home builder. And over the course of my career, I've been fortunate enough to learn about things that I didn't even know existed. So learning about geosynthetic underlayment for cement, like that sounds, maybe it sounds boring to some people. I think it's exciting to do what I do, what Brenton Creative does. We have to basically be become quasi experts in all these different industries so that we can speak to it, and so we can market and advertise it. And that's kind of the fun part. I mean, to say, do I have a perfect client? I mean, all my clients are perfect, but do I have like a target client? I don't. What I want is somebody who is going to be collaborative, somebody who is open to either new ideas, and somebody that's a client that's like that's just willing to put themselves out there, like it, and be able to somebody that I can pull alongside of and become a partner in that company and help them to grow their business, and to we can work together. It's not a us versus them. we're together, we're here working together. And that's kind of the client that I look for. It's just somebody that is willing to partner and willing to really, form a relationship, a long-term partnership.
Fantastic. And is there a certain size of company that seems to be better, or is that wide open as well?
Yeah, as of right now, I do a lot of work with some smaller businesses, but in the past, I have worked with. I've done work for global companies, and I've done some that are one person mom and pop shops. And there's really the only difference is the bigger the company, the more channels you have to go through. So sometimes it gets a little more difficult, but they also have the bigger budget. So you're trading it off. But yeah, either one is fine. I mean, there is something about working with the smaller companies and helping them as they grow and helping them to achieve. I'm doing the same thing. I started a small business. I'm wanting to grow my business and achieve this dream, and they're wanting to do that as well. So if we can work together to lift each other up and build that, then that's great. But as far as, is it better to work for a big company or a little company? I mean, it really just depends on the collaboration and who is at the other end of that table, or the other of that Zoom call, and if they're a true partner, if they're really wanting to further the business and really work together.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. So you mentioned that you started in the midst of COVID. So
yeah,
the question I ask everyone is, what has been the greatest impact of COVID on your business? And so if you could share that with us, that'd be awesome.
So I like I mentioned before, I had started an agency back in 2008. And when we started that agency, we worked out of our homes. And back in 2008, which doesn't seem too far away, but I guess it is, it's been a while. But back then that was seen almost as like a liability. We were amateurs. When people would ask us where our offices are, people would, oh, where are you located? Oh, we're on the south side of Indianapolis. And some people would take that and just be like, yeah, sure, okay, cool. At least with my business partner, they would do that. For me, they would always be like, oh, where at? And I'd say, oh, or Franklin Township area or whatever. And then they, oh, really, where? And I'm like, no, stop asking me questions, because I didn't want to say we were just guys working out of our basement.
Yeah.
And because back then that was seen as, oh, well, you're just some amateur, whatever, with a computer, you think you're an agency. And we weren't. We had experience. We were doing it. Well, turn that to 2020 or 2021, and everybody's working from home. We were pioneers. So that's we didn't know it. So that's the thing that I see as, for myself, the biggest impact for me was, it may have been a strange decision to start a company in the midst of 2020 and during an economic downturn, and but on the flip side, it allowed me to say, look, I'm working from home. I'm in a bedroom right now. Like, I'm talking to you from, I'm sitting at my desk in my office, but like, that's, that's norm, everybody's used to that now. So used to, it would be like, you're trying to hide that you're working from home and that, you're not a big enough company to have an office space. So, it must not be real. It's like, no, this is, I work with companies. I have friends that work with companies and they're completely remote now. Yeah. And that's the norm. And I think that's the biggest impact I've seen. I mean, it's not just exclusively to my company, but just in the industry as a whole. That's just the way things are now.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that story. So Dustin, we've all had to pivot during COVID to figure out how to make things work. So what's one action that you took that made a difference in your business over the past 18 months?
So the biggest difference, and I think it goes back to my previous statement, is Zoom meetings, and everybody's done it. But as far as being able to work together and collaborate, I do work with people all across the United States, and I have Zoom meetings with them. And I've talked to somebody in California, and then I'll talk to somebody in North Carolina, and it's like, that's just, we're used to that now, and it's easy to have those meetings over Zoom, or or to share files through Google Drive. I mean, the cloud is a lot more advanced than what it was in 2008.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to be able to, take those types of steps to make your business successful. So, I've, like I said, I've done Zoom meetings with people in other states, but I've also done Zoom meetings with people just in Greenwood, 15 minutes away from me. I can still do a Zoom meeting with them. And it's been, for reasons of, are just schedules. It's easier to do that. So we don't have to take that time to drive to meet with you. But also I've had clients that have had COVID scares and say, hey, out of abundance of caution, let's just do a Zoom meeting. Right. And it's like, that's great. I have no problems with that. Actually, I love it because then I don't have to drive all the way up to you. And then I don't have to worry about putting mileage into QuickBooks later and trying to remember to do all that stuff. So, right. But that's, those are the biggest things that, and I think it speeds up, the process and it's more convenient that way.
Yeah. Yes. It's so funny that prior to COVID, the options of meetings seemed to be a phone call or a coffee shop.
Right.
And then, right, it's not that Zoom didn't exist then, it just never seemed to be that acceptable. And now, right, a Zoom call is way more effective than a phone call. And so it's been great that the good side of COVID is that the Zoom capabilities or any, video conferencing capabilities has become more mainstream and more, people are more open to using that as a communication tool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So here's an interesting question. It's been said that smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So what's a mistake you've made along the way as a business owner that you'd be willing to share to help other entrepreneurs learn from your experience?
Biggest mistakes. Well, as far as I think, I don't know if I have so much mistake, but just something I've learned and from the past was doing all of the administrative stuff. So I mentioned mileage in QuickBooks and stuff like that. I years and years ago wanted to start my own agency, when I first got out of college thinking I'm everything. And but the thing that always stopped me was all the administrative stuff, the taxes, the forming an LLC and all that. And then when I with my business partner, we started an agency, and that was a real learning experience to understand how you start an LLC, how do you file taxes, and all that stuff. We learned pretty quickly on that we needed to hire a third person for our company to just do that, to be our bookkeeper. And she was, an amazing third leg to our tripod that helped us, stand and keep us legal. So that was the thing. And in the course of, just life, my wife and I have also started other corporations, other LLCs and whatnot, and just learned from doing little small things here and there of how to file our own quarterly taxes, how to manage things through QuickBooks, and using software to do project management and stuff like that. So that's the biggest thing for me, is continuing to do that for myself, but learning what tools are available so that I can still stay legal and still pay taxes and have a business. If you don't pay the taxes, you can't stay in business, or not for very long, I guess. But yeah, that's the thing that I've learned the most is, you go into business to do what you want to do, your passion, whether you have a bookstore, whether you have you're selling a widget or whatever it is, that's what you want to do. You don't want to spend all day doing bookkeeping and all day doing spreadsheets and whatnot. But knowing the tools and the ways to do that make it easier, and the people to talk to answer questions, and to make sure that you're staying legal, and that you're invoicing properly, that you're getting paid with invoices and stuff like that. So that's QuickBooks has been amazing for me, especially the QuickBooks on my phone, just being able to send an invoice or check status of something, or like I keep saying mileage because that's just a thorn in my side. I hate doing it for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's super easy. It tracks how far I drive. And, I had a notepad that I would keep track of in my car, and I was so terrible at it. I was awful at it. And, I was like, well, was this for business? I don't know. But since the phone will track you automatically, that's the thing that has been the biggest learning curve of running my own business. And like I said, I had a business partner before that did stuff, and we had our first hire. She did a lot of that stuff. So that's the stuff that I'm learning to do on my own. And eventually, as the business grows, maybe someday I'll have somebody else to take over that. But right now, being as being a small business owner, you wear so many hats.
Yeah.
So that's one of them.
Well, I love that learning. It's actually something that all of my clients struggle with, and that is, wearing those multiple hats. And what you just illustrated is one of the first things we tackle, which is, hey, tell me all the stuff that you do, right? And now let's bucket them in terms of what's the hourly wage, right, of that task, right? And generally speaking, what we find or discover together is there's a whole bunch of administrative tasks that could be $20 an hour jobs, right? And the business owner's bill rate, and just using a fake number, right, is $100 an hour.
Mhm.
Right? And so every hour that they spend on the $20 an hour job is preventing them from growing the business. Right? And so that exercise of using technology or hiring to get that stuff off their plate gives them the ability to grow. And the thing that the aha that most of them have is that they didn't realize that they were the bottleneck of their business growth because they weren't letting go of those administrative tasks. So I love that lesson, and happy to hear that you're working towards using technology to free up your time, and eventually get somebody in place to take that off your plate. That's awesome. So,
Yeah, it all kind of comes down to what's your time worth.
Yeah.
And how much time do you want to spend on spreadsheets, and how much time do you want to spend actually producing money making work for clients.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And the thing that often, again, as business owners, we can get stuck in the trap of, well, my time is free because I can just work on the evenings and weekends, right? But there's an opportunity cost of that, right? From a standpoint of, family and other and friendships and other, other personal commitments. And so, yeah. So great. Absolutely. Again, great exercise. Thank you for sharing that. So what do you feel is going to be your biggest challenge as you look out over the next 12 months?
So the biggest challenge for me is, and I'm always looking forward to what's next. I learned that early on with the previous businesses and stuff. It's like, you got to get the tasks done that are due today, but you always have to look forward. What's coming up, and what is it I don't see? What is it that I'm going to miss that's coming up? And my biggest task for me is keeping the pipeline full, keeping more business or potential business, even just acquaintances, touching base, saying hi, that sort of thing. Potential business, keeping that in the forefront. So that comes with another struggle, or another issue of bandwidth. So you always want to kind of keep that your eye to the future. You got to get stuff done today, but you get your eye to the future. But as that future stuff comes in, that current stuff is still there too. Yes. Or if it goes away, then you're replacing it. But if that's still there too, well, now you have this stuff and you have the new stuff coming in. Yep. So it's a matter of bandwidth, and it's a matter of, okay, who do I, at that point, do I am I looking to hire, or am I looking to subcontract? I have an amazing network of subcontractors and just vendors that I've partnered with for many, many years. For doing this for 20 plus years, you get to know a few people. And so I have quite a few people that I can reach out to, that I have reached out to, that are part of my network, that when a project comes in that I either can't do, or I could do it, but not to the level that they can. So I would rather, pay them to do it and push that project onto them, frees up my time, but it also allows me to make sure that the client is getting the best product that they're going to get. I might be able to do it, but they may be able to do it better, especially if they have more time to spend on it than I do. I don't want to rush through something and, you know, it'd be a crummy product.
Yes.
But yeah, looking forward, you know, for the next 12 months, like I said, it's continuing to fill that pipeline.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to make connections with clients and vendors, and just keeping that moving forward.
Yeah. Again, I love what you're saying about bandwidth. So one of the principles that we coach our clients on, we call it the 50-50 rule. So 50% of the time working on business development and 50% taking care of existing clients. And when that gets out of whack, right, it's then an indication that we need to hire, right? Or we need to outsource, or we need to leverage technology. Because generally what I see happening is, as the clients get filled up, right, the business shifts from focusing on business development to taking care of their existing clients, right? And then what happens is, when the business development slows down, right, the pipeline bleeds out a little bit, and then right, then there's like, oops, now we need to, well, we finished assignments with clients, and now we need to go back and fill the pipeline. So it becomes this, this teeter-totter effect. So yeah, great illustration of something that everybody needs to be focusing on. And just for those listening, think about that 50-50 rule.
Yeah, absolutely.
So second last question here, Dustin. We'll get your contact information to include along with this video, so that folks can reach out to you, whether that's through email or website or phone number. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that we touch on today that we haven't talked about yet?
No, I think we've hit a lot of it. The only thing that I would say is, you had asked earlier if there was any specific clients that I work with or anything like that. And there's none. If there's something that you need, whether it's websites or graphic design or, a flyer, a banner, bus wrap, whatever it is, feel free to reach out. For the way I work with businesses, it's individuals. So each business is different. And I have my set rates of what I charge. But, we can work together in a way of, is it a one-off project? Is it just, hey, I really need you to design this thing for this event? Yeah, fantastic. Here's what it's going to cost. Here it is. If your company has a whole list of wants and needs of, we need to update our website, we need to put together all these sales sheets, we need to redo our logo, we need a brand standards guide, just a whole list of things, then that might be a longer project. And instead of doing that as one-off projects, we could look at that as more of a retainer agreement of, you pay X amount of dollars each month and you'll get these things, or you'll get a block of my hours. And it's tailored for each company, because each business wants to do it differently. Some, you'd asked earlier, is it different from small business to big business? And it doesn't, it differs. There's not any one silver bullet for either company. Some bigger businesses love the retainer agreement, because they know their marketing budget, X amount of dollars is going out each month. And I love it, because I know X amount of dollars is coming to me each month. But by doing that, since I know that there's money coming in, I can offer a discounted rate. And that's I don't have like promo codes or discounts or coupons or anything like that, but that's volume creates a discount. And when you know that there's money coming in, then there's a discounted rate at that point. If it's a one-off project, then it's my regular rate, and that's where we work at. So that's every business is individual, and each person likes to work differently. Some clients like to see, I had this project, I paid this much money for it, and that's it. Others don't care. They just know this is all marketing. I paid for all the marketing this month, and that's where they live. So it really depends on the business.
Awesome. And then Dustin, what's the best way for folks, or what's the process, I should say, if folks are interested in learning more about you and determining if you're the right fit for them? What does that process look like?
Yeah. So first off, go to my website, brentoncreative.com. There'll be a link on this video, sure. But just read about what we do, see some of the work that we've done, visit my Facebook page. You can see my our Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatnot, kind of see the stuff that we post and whatnot, just to get a feel for the company and the business. I do that every time I go to a new business, whether I'm visiting them as a customer or if I'm visiting them as Brenton Creative. but as far as the process, after you've done that, send me an email, and or that's the best way to contact me. Send an email, say, hey, I'd like, interested in working with you, or I've seen the work that you do. Let's have a discussion, and we can set up a time to either do a Zoom call like this, or I do go to in-person meetings still, and sometimes masks, sometimes not, whatever, that's fine. But whatever makes the client comfortable. And so I just did one earlier this week. I sat down across the table from somebody. We had a discussion on their needs, what they're looking for. We talked about what I can do and see if it works together. Sometimes, you might sit down across the table from somebody and go, you know what, I don't think this is a good partnership for us. Like there's just some clients, and just for some reason, it just doesn't click. And I've had that with previous agencies, and I've had it here too. But then there's other times where you sit across the table from people and you're like, yeah, we're going to work together and this is going to be great. So, and what happens is when we have those discussions, those are just getting to know you discussions, discovery meetings, right? What are your needs? What can I do? How can we work together? Where can I fill in the holes? Or where can I, build you up, make you better? And usually I go away from those meetings with a next steps. So here are the things that I need to do for you. And a lot of times it's put together a proposal, give us a quote on what this is going to cost. And so I'll put together that, and we'll either reconvene for another meeting later, or I'll shoot you back an email or just a proposal, and we can discuss it over the phone or email stuff. And that's where we move forward. Is the client can look at it and say, I love this, let's move forward, or I like A and B, but let's not do C quite yet, because it's an individual preference, and also depends on their budget. If we're working with, I was gonna say small business, but really any business, they know what they can afford. And if they say, oh, we don't have that this month, but at least they know that option's there for later. So they then contact me and say, we'd like to do this work. And I say, fantastic. And we get moving and we start working on it and work together. And then there's all the contract legal stuff, but that's nobody wants to talk about that. That's not the fun stuff.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay. So last question here, Dustin. Tell me what's been most inspiring to you during all the craziness of the past year?
The biggest inspiration for me is my family, is being able to provide for them and being able to, and to have their support. I guess maybe not just family and friends. I have an amazing wife who, when I talked about starting Brenton Creative, and she was very supportive, and not just supportive in the sense of, you can do it. It's like, okay, let's sit down and let's look at the budget. Let's look at the money. Let's look at like we actually, looked at everything and said, can we do this? It's not just a cheerleader mentality. It was, let's take a look at this and actually see if we can make this work. And then, having a core group of friends and a network that is there, that has my back. So when I said, before I started the company, I called some people and said, hey, I'm gonna do this. And, a lot of them, there's a lot of cheerleaders out there, which is great. We need that, encouraging, and yeah, you can do this, you can do that. But then I had, some of my closest friends, when I first wanted to start Brenton Creative, say, you're not ready, don't do it yet. And they were right. I had to wait some time, wait several months before I was to that point of getting whatever, whether it was a client or just the right time to start it.
Yeah.
And those are the things that really kind of inspire me. Now, there's also other things as far as creatively, being a designer, I'm reading, Graphic Design USA magazine. I'm looking at design blogs and listening to podcasts like Design Matters and stuff. And those are always great. Another inspiration for me is being a small business owner, is looking at other small businesses and seeing that they're doing it. And we have here in Franklin, we have several small businesses in downtown Franklin that have been doing it for years. I mean, we got Electric Key Records, Toodly Doo Toys, Wild Geese Bookshop, 1823 Bakehouse. I mean, there's all these little small businesses that are thriving and that have been, doing well for many years, and seeing other businesses and talking to those business owners and being friends with some of them is helpful as well, to be able to, just see that other people are doing this. Other people make this work and can do it. And, I know I've said I did it before in the past, but like I said, this is my first sole proprietorship. It's my own, my own company, before I had a business partner and stuff. And, but, having it on your own, looking to other people for inspiration. So having the friends, the family, and then seeing other people is an inspiration. And I mentioned being a designer and finding inspiration. You always have to continue learning and continue understanding what the newest trend is, and what not just to do that trend, but just to be relevant.
Yeah.
So staying on top of, like I said, design blogs and stuff like that to really understand that. So there's inspiration everywhere. there's a lot of it, and you just got to look for it. And but yeah, just the biggest part is just my family and the encouragement that I've had to be able to do this.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That does conclude the interview. For those listening, if you've heard something that has sparked your interest, please reach out to Dustin. Like I said, the contact information will be included in the comments section of this video. So go visit his website, learn about the company, look at some of the work that he's done, send him an email, set up that discovery call, and see if they're the right company to satisfy your growth needs for your business. For everyone who appears on the show, we do offer a complimentary coaching session as a thank you for your time. So Dustin will talk about that offline here. And it's just been a pleasure learning about you and your business today. And I wish you tremendous success, man.
Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too.